Welcome to the digital world of Ex Machina. On today's show, we get Kung Fu Crazy with Jackie Chan. We look at some new gaming duos. We also look at the latest Star Wars games. And we watch valiant knights do battle at a joust tournament. So, without delay, let's go meet the City Hunter. This is City Hunter, now available on DVD. In a lighter style of Hong Kong cinema, this is Jackie Chan's highly comical, lightning-paced tribute to Bruce Lee and the popular City Hunter manga comic strip. Action-packed from start to finish, this film features British kickboxing hero Gary Daniels and veteran Aussie fighter Richard Norton. The DVD includes interviews with the two fighters, giving you an insight into what it was like to make this comical kung fu film, as well as finding out how difficult it is being a Westerner on the set of a Hong Kong movie.
You find when you do a Hong Kong movie is they literally have no script. They write the script day by day as they go, which means as an actor, I have no idea what I'm going to do tomorrow or the next day or whatever, and they don't even know, which again makes it very spontaneous.
And I really like the Hong Kong directors because they bring different unexpected elements to their movies, whereas I find a lot of the Hollywood directors, maybe it's not just the directors, maybe just the Hollywood mentality from the studios or whatever, is a lot of times when I'm watching an American movie, you can almost predict what's going to happen. You can almost second guess it because you've seen it time and time again. They're very into formulas, and that's why sequels are so popular over there, because formulas work. If it works, we'll do it again and again, and you want to keep making money. But when you're watching a Hong Kong movie, there's often stuff in there that just, where did that scene come from? The directors just inject something of their own personality, and it's just stuff you would never expect to see in the movie. And I love that. I like that, not knowing what you're going to see.
And the other big difference, of course, is contact. Depending on the movie in Hong Kong, there is a lot of physical contact. I mean, they want to see bodies fold, and you've got to be in good shape to be able to take that. It's not for wimps, that's for sure.
It's pretty intricate hand techniques, and you know, they're not happy with you just swinging your arm. The whole body movement has to, it's like a dance. When I go back, Jackie comes in. When Jackie comes in, I go back. Action! There was actually one point in the choreography where Jackie got it wrong, and I clocked him. I hit him with a left hook in the face, and I was like, I'm gonna get fired. I'd actually heard a Westerner had been fired for hitting Jackie once before, so I was really worried at that point that I might be off the show.
Luckily, Gary wasn't fired, and he went on to film one of the maddest scenes ever recorded.
When I saw the scene, I was shocked because, once again, I thought it was like a serious fight scene, and then you hear the music that they put to it. It's like Keystone Cops.
After being thrown into an arcade machine, the guys take on the look and moves of characters from the classic arcade beat-em-up Street Fighter.
There was a lot of laughing going on the set on that day. I really enjoyed working with Jackie on that scene because it was funny. I mean, there's a scene right at the beginning when I'm fighting Jackie and he's playing E Honda and I'm playing Ken, and we actually shot the whole movie, the whole scene at like 10 frames per second, which really speeds it up because they wanted it to actually look like the moves from the video game. So we were doing these repetitive moves, just like going, you know, like a robot, like the video game characters, and we were just non-stop laughing. It was so hard to get takes done because I was laughing, Jackie was laughing, Jigo, the cameraman, was laughing. It was just a really funny scene to shoot. I mean, it's so off the wall. How do you prepare to shoot a scene like that? And then they put me on this metal contraption with a stand, which would keep this leg straight, and then another piece of metal going up, like strapped to the inside of my leg to keep my leg straight so I could spin round and round. And after drinking that iced coffee, I have to go round and round, man. You're off the set going, puking up. So.
I told you it was mad, viewers. But is this Jackie Chan's best film?
You know, people like to ask you, what is your favourite Jackie Chan movie? And how can you say it? There's just so many good movies. I mean, the fact that he can churn out good movie after good movie with original choreography after original choreography, it's amazing. I mean, I've done quite a few movies, and to try and come up with original choreography is so hard. So I had total respect for those guys, total respect.
And now we visit a galaxy far, far away to witness the evolution of Star Wars. A moment's silence, please. What you're witnessing here is the first ever Star Wars game, an early 80s arcade machine from the then gaming giants Atari. The vector graphics style they adopted did a more than competent job at conveying an intense sense of speed as you dueled with TIE fighters, and then made your perilously erratic trench run against a hail of oncoming laser defenses. And this being Ex Machina, we've decided to take a look at some of the more significant Star Wars game tie-ins that have occurred since. No, not just the blatant cash-ins, but the sort of titles that have been almost as eagerly awaited by gamers as the movies themselves. Yeah, some of them didn't quite reach the lofty heights of being able to claim they captured that Star Wars magic, but we're sure that in their heart of hearts they did at least try. A 3D experience like this didn't come our way for quite a while. You see, it wasn't really until home PCs first started to show some polygon firepower that this side of Star Wars received a renaissance. X-Wing was massive with the PC gaming crowd. However, it was more a simulation than an unadulterated shot of arcade action. But hey, let's remember, they were simulating fantasy here. This spawned a game series that allowed those gamers partial to the dark side of the Force to play a part in the Imperial struggle in TIE Fighter. Boo hiss. Consoles were soon to get a slice of this exciting action. Things were afoot in the Nintendo camp. A fantastic new machine promised an astounding all-new Star Wars game. The machine? The N64. The game, Shadows of the Empire. Expectations were absurdly high for this game. Could it have been a clear case of hype gone mad? Well, in all fairness, it did finally give players a genuine chance to loop themselves round the legs of an AT-AT. An essential, not to mention satisfying technique for wrapping harpoon cables around these walking death machines. And the asteroid section, despite being rather limited in terms of freedom, did provide an experience the real fans had been crying out for. However, it was during the on-foot levels that major failings revealed themselves. Lack of focus, dull environments, and unimaginative combat. For the players, it seemed as though these sections were just an afterthought on the developers' part. They just led to an overwhelming desire to get back to the vehicle sections. Maybe in taking a lesson from all this, it was decided that the next Nintendo game should instead concentrate on pure flying gameplay. The result? Rogue Squadron. Unlike Shadows of the Empire, the task of putting this dogfighting spectacular together had been completed by a team outside the LucasArts game division. None other than Factor 5. Their talents in this coup were more than noted.
We did it! We saved Mos Eisley!
Then came a major event in movie theatres. Episode 1 made its cinematic debut. Many people believe that George Lucas had console and arcade gaming in mind when he thought of the pod racing scene. The existence of this entire sequence in the film's plot was perhaps merely to act as a simple tie-in opportunity. After all, pure racing wasn't going to prove too demanding for the developers. No need to formulate any complex gameplay. And in treading the well-worn avenues of staple crowd pleasers, they were also to score a hit with the epic scale of Starfighter. Not content with the popularity of just a PS2 version, the Xbox is set to receive its own special edition version. But for those of you who are going to vote Microsoft with their credit cards come November, there's also the promise of some lightsaber action. Star Wars Obi-Wan will be exclusive to the Xbox, a real incentive, some might say, for those who'd like to become the famous Jedi Knight, before he became a bit more mature, chopped off his ponytail, and was portrayed by Sir Alec Guinness. So, will this become the Jedi Master of Star Wars games? Only time will tell. But we'd be prepared to wager that what most people are more eager to get their mitts on is a bit of the old school action. Does the battleground of Naboo really compare to a major engagement of the Imperial and Alliance fleets, the colossal cloud city of Bespin, or the frighteningly fierce defences of the Death Star? We think not. This is Rogue Leader on the GameCube. The Force, it seems, is definitely strong in this one. Well, that's it for part 1. Join us again in part 2 as we meet with the Floygan brothers. We'll watch Dave Mirra perform cunning stunts. And we witness a knight's tale. Welcome back. In part 2 of Ex Machina, we get extreme with Dave Mirra and his BMX. We also get bored with Tony Hawk. And we enter a battle. But now, they say 2 heads are better than 1. How about 2 characters? Game character pairings have been very successful over the years. We've had Sonic and Tails, Mario and Luigi, and more recently, Banjo and Kazooie, but to name a few. Game designers over the world haven't stopped there. That's right, more pairings are on the way, and we thought it would be a good time to introduce the newbies to the masses. First up, there's the Floygan brothers. In this game, the player controls Huygle Floygan, the smaller, quicker brother. Moigel Floygan is Huygel's younger, but much bigger, goofy brother. The interaction between Huygle and Moigel is the central element of the game. So Moigel has been created to feel as lifelike as a cartoon character can feel. Got that? Good. Another Another madcap pairing was ToeJam and Earl. Now these guys were first seen back on the old Sega Mega Drive. The idea of the game was that these aliens were the funkiest dudes in the universe. While travelling around in space, they one day get a bit careless and crash their Ratmaster rocket ship onto an unknown planet. And guess what? You had to find all the rocket ship pieces to be able to continue on your Universal tour. Anyway, why am I telling you all this? Well, they're back.
Yo, what up?
ToeJam and Earl 3 has been announced for the Sega Dreamcast, as well as rumours about a PlayStation 2 version. Staying true to the original game, the funky pair are again lost on some distant planet. Although this time, as well as sounding funky, they now also look a lot funkier. Stay tuned for more news on the aliens from Funkatron in future episodes of Ex Machina.
Yeah!
And our final pairing is Jack and Daxter on the PlayStation 2. Set in a vast and beautiful land, Jack and Daxter, the precursor legacy, concerns the exploits of Jack and his idiosyncratic sidekick, Daxter, who's transformed into a weasel-like rodent after falling into a huge vat of dog blood. The two of you set off we'll veer away from being disparaging and instead bring you news of some forthcoming sequels. That's right, the popular game series is making a move up to the PlayStation 2, according to the developers at the recent E3 trade show in Los Angeles. This was a chance to look at an early port of the code on the Xbox, along with further news of a Nintendo GameCube version. Ride that license. And because of this announcement, we thought it would be a good time to take a look over the development process of the game series. Let's call it a timely chance to examine their initial research work and how it'll still be playing a part in the new versions. When creating the 3D animation for the first game, US-based development studios Z-Axis went for the motion capture approach. The team enlisted both Dave Merritt himself and fellow partner in crime Ryan Nyquist to be their performers. A good choice, we think. But what was to last somewhat longer than the casual flirting with the technical staff were the results produced from these valuable sessions. Unfortunately, much of the data had to be heavily edited when implementing it into the PlayStation 1 version. It was a bit too complex for the machine. With the PlayStation being over 5 years old, the memory restrictions meant having to make compromises with the animation keyframes. A clearer example of this loss of quality is more than aptly demonstrated by what happened with the recent James Bond game on the same console. Impressive capture results for sure, but as you can see here, it doesn't mean the target platform's able to reproduce it. But the greater memory reserves of the new Super consoles allow the development team to get far more out of their original capture data. The animation seems smoother, and this, of course, has a noticeable impact on the reality factor of the title. And speaking of reality, let's remember that stunts don't always go according to plan. Despite the odd fall during the capture sessions, the team couldn't really expect the stars to perform mysterious crashes. Let's say, like this bone-shattering occasion. Cue the Boffins. They put together this proprietary technology and shrewdly labelled it, cue drumroll, the Skeletal Dynamic System. Basically, this system is able to generate crashes that are completely unique. Thus, every crash is different to the last. improvement seems to be a change to the limited gaming arenas that are normally pretty unpopulated. You can now explore and terrorize to your heart's content. Or at the very least, play chicken with dense amounts of downtown traffic. And we couldn't not mention the ability to leap like a kangaroo straight onto flyovers, a far cry from any bicycle proficiency test that I ever did. Another aspect to remember in terms of the team's tireless research work is the audio.
It's weird like how much like stuff you really need for like sound, like grinds and skidding.
With PlayStation 2, Xbox and GameCube each possessing beefed up audio hardware, you can safely assume we'll be hearing clearer, crisper samples when metal meets concrete. And what's the betting? They're all going to exhibit a sizable chunk of obligatory time slice. And now for another type of extreme stupidness, I mean sport. Oh no, surely not another skateboarding game. Well, yes. Tony Hawk has yet another game coming out, surprisingly titled Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 for the PlayStation 2. Now viewers, this guy is absolutely bonkers balmy. It's amazing what he can do with a skateboard, and now you can replicate his moves, all from the safety of your armchair. And the game? Well, it's basically the same as all the others. Ride around town, pulling off the most radical moves, dude. This time, however, you'll look twice as good. It's all down to the polygon pulling power of the PS2, don't you know? So, grab your virtual board, don't forget your protective clothing, and launch yourself off the nearest ramp, building, or even loop the blinking loop. Madness. And now we go from a board to the sword. To finish today's show, we visit a bygone era when knights were bold and tales were told.
Someday, I'll be a knight.
Yes, William. If he believes enough, a man can do anything.
In 1 month, we could be on our way to glory and riches none of us ever dreamed of.
You can't even joust.
I think he's getting worse. He is getting worse. I won't spend the rest of my life as nothing.
You have to be of noble birth to compete.
So we lie.
I have the pleasure of introducing to you a knight, sired by knights.
William Thatcher didn't make the rules. He was born
I've waited my whole life for this moment.
to break them.
Yes! Thank you, I'll be here all week.
Well, that was different. And you are? Ulrich von Liechtenstein from Gelderland.
The Ulrich von Liechtenstein. I would have him win my heart.
You're my favorite knight.
He's won 4 tournaments in a row. On a horse, that man is unbeatable.
If the nobles find out who you are, there'll be the devil to pay.
And pray that they don't.
Ulrich von Liechtenstein is not who he appears to be. They're going to arrest you. 12 royal guards.
I love you. Run, and I will run with you.
I will not run! I'm a knight. I'm here to compete. Let's dance, you and I.
A Knight's Tale will be invading a cinema screen near you very soon. Now, that's what I call digital entertainment. See you again next time.
Up next is the very chic, the very stylish, and the very new Ultratech, giving viewers the chance to review and buy the best high-tech products on the market today, after the break.